Okay, Simin Chaf Hey, Dine Ashro Valatian Ad Gemara Tefillah. It's the end of the davening. Uboy Chese Ifim. So I'm from Ashrei Utehilul David. You say Ashrei and Tilul David. What that means is that Ashrei Tilul David is the perek, and then Ashrei was added. Utzrichen lechavan by Heitev. You have to have a lot of kavana. Ubeprat pasuk peseches yadecha, and specifically with the pasuk peseches yadecha, yechavan es libe ma'ayir. You have to have a lot of kavana. Kamash Kasavdi, that's what we said before, that really you have to go back. Even if you remember later on, many psukim later, you have to go back. After that, you say Lam Natseach. And these are the days you don't say Lam Natseach. Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, Upurim, both Purims, Adin, B'Shana Muberes, B'Yom Yudal, V'Tesvav Sheba Adar Rishon, Erev Pesach, Erev Yom Kippurim, Tisha B'Av, Gam Einarim Oisa B'Beis Avol. You also don't say it in a base Avol. Over Yom She'einarim Lam Natseach, Gam Keler Chapayim Einarim. I think we mentioned this before. Kriyas HaTorah. Keler Chapayim. When you say that, you say before Vayihi Ben Soya. You only don't say that on days that you don't say Lam Natseach. Unfortunately, many people don't say it on the day they don't say Tachnun, but it has nothing to do with Tachnun.
Yiratzin is like Tachnun.
Yiratzin's Tachnun Keler Chapayim is like Lam Natseach. Fine. Gimel Oimrim Kedusha Zuvoletzion Imat Targum. You're supposed to say the Kedusha Voletzion with the translation. V'tzarach lizor ma'oid la'amr b'kavana. You have to say it b'kavana, which is why everybody yells it out in the shuls, at least in yeshivas. Targum yesh la'amr b'lachash, but the Targum you say quietly, because Kabbalah tells us that Aramaic we don't do berabim, we don't do in public. Right? And there's three. It's Kaddish, 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 and then it goes through the three Kaddishes that we have. Fine. Asr la'adam latzis mibes knesses kaidem kedusha zu. You're not allowed to leave shul before this kedusha, which is a little scary because a lot of times you have to run out and you have to leave. You got to catch a train or whatever it is. So, but if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. You're an einus. I mean, if somebody's an einus, then they don't even have to go to shul. Like in be yechidus, we do. Earning a parnasa is daicha tefillah b'tzibur. So, I mean, obviously you should try your best. So certainly leaving at the end is also going to be daicha this din. But if for no other reason, then you should not leave shul. And he's going to say that you should also keep your tefillin on for that. Right? Hey, yesh lahada laimra imat tzibur, and you have to be mahader, or you should try to be mahader, to say with the tzibur lachein in bala beis haknesses b'shosha tzibur aimrim oisa. If you come to shul at the time that the tzibur is saying it, yamru imam, you say it with them af kaidem tefilasa, even before the tefillah. Bu adin the yachal amr kaidem shnei apsukim dahainu uvalatzion banizos risi. Meaning, if you're running a little slow, then you should jump from Lam Natseach and you should go to Valatzion and then go back to Lam Natseach. Right? Right? Meaning even skip the first parts of Valatzion, skip Lam Natseach, skip Ashrei. Say Valatzion out of order in order to say the Kaddish, Kaddish, Kaddish with the minion. Then you can go back and skip. That's how important it is. We said that also by Birchas Kriya Shema, the importance of saying Birchas Kriya Shema, the Kaddish Kaddish together with the minyan, because it's not so simple that you're allowed to even say it b'yechidus. Fine.
Birkas Kriya Shema we don't skip, do we?
No, we don't skip in Birchas Kriya Shema. No, the Shilas, should you skip Psukei de Zimra in order to get to Birchas Kriya Shema just for Kaddish Kaddish? It seems like yes, that you should. Right? You have to say it with fear and yira. Right? Yeshua ben Nun. Yeshua tiknei b'shas shekavos Yericho. It was from Yeshua ben Nun aleinu. V'achakach aymer mizmar shel yaim ushar mizmarim b'chol makom kafi minhagoi. The mizmarim based on the different minhagim. Kishayatzim v'saknesses, when you leave shul aymer apasuk Hashem necheni. How does it go? Necheni b'tzidkascha l'man shayroy shar lefoni darkecha. I'm reading it off from the footnote. I do not know that by heart, which tells you that I'm not saying it every day. All right. I don't know. It seems like we don't. It seems like people don't do this. And Mishtachav Mulha Aron HaKodesh, which seems like people don't do this either. You bow towards Aron Kodesh, Talmud Nifta Me'Rabbi, like a Talmud who was nifta from his Rebbe. Kashayetzim is a Knesset Lo Yetziv Acharev Aron Kodesh. You shouldn't go with your back to the Aron Kodesh. All right. Ela Yitzadid, you should go sort of sideways. V'chein B'Yiridasim in a Teva, same thing when you leave the Bima. Ches, Kishayatzim is a Knesset also Loretz or Lusaya Psia Gasa. When you're leaving Shul, you can't run and you can't take large steps. Because then it looks like that the Beis HaKnesses is like a burden on you because you're running out. That's only we're going to work. But if you when you're going from the Beis HaKnesses, back then it was two different buildings, right? Right, so to go from one, meaning he's saying when you went from the shul to the bismedish, so then you could run. But what about if you're running to do a mitzvah? So how does that work? I don't know. I don't know if you're going to run out to do a chesed. So then, are you allowed to run? I would think yes, but I don't know. Fine. Did we finish this paragraph?
Yeah, you finished Ches, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Two. Aleph and Beis.
Okay. Simen Chavav Dine Kadesh Yasam V'Boy Chav Beis Seifim. Right, the dinim of Kadesh Yasam. Nimtzu b'midrashim harbi masius. There are many stories mentioned in the Medrash ki al yidei ben oimer Kadesh b'shvil avav ha'imoi nitzalim and hadin. Because the child said Kadesh for the parents, they get saved from the din. Al kein noig and lemer Kadesh. Therefore, we're noig to say Kadesh. V'chein lalis lemaftir, and also to get maftir u'lispal l'fnei ateva, and also to daven for the amud. Right. See, it's an interesting thing. Also, the maftir, which doesn't seem like we always makbid to give the maftir to an oval in the year. But the davening for the Amid, they have taken on themselves. So I don't know what the pshat is. But proper Motzei Shabbos is Shu Hazman Shechayzan and Hashemas the Gehenim. So then you want to daven for the Amid because they get a break from Gehenim for Shabbos. So you want to give them an aliyah for the neshama Motzei Shabbos. V'chein b'chol arvis she'oz tigbaris adin. Ma'ariv, the way the kids is saying, it's more important for an oval to daven Ma'ariv than the other tefillos. V'yesh b'inin hakadeshim kama chilukei dinim al pi haminhagim. There's all sorts of different dinim for the kadeshim based on the minhagim. Meaning, this is referring to who gets the. Back then, only one person said kaddish. It seems, which some yeshivas still do that. The Netz Minyan in Yeshiva Rockaway does that. I don't know about the other Netz Minyan. It seems like the minig became that everybody says kaddish together just to take away the machlokes. But there are there's all sorts of dinim of who gets the first kaddish and who doesn't. For us, it's still nagaya nowadays for davening for the amud. The same hierarchy that you have for kaddish, you have for davening for the amud. Beis b'saych shiva. So somebody who's during shiva, bein shu katan, whether he's a katan, bein gadol, whether he's a gadol meaning over, but it's a bein taisha, bein areach, whether he lives in the city or whether he's a guest. Yesh loy kol kadeshim, he gets all the kadeshim. For Daicha Kol Avelim, and he's Daicha everybody, because he is middle of Shiva. Vafilu Paga Haregel Taich Shiva, Hamavato Gzeira Shiva. We know that when Yom Tif comes out during Shiva, so then it knocks out the Shiva. V'chein La'achar Shiva Shemavato Gzeira Shloishim, and after Shiva, Shloishim is over. Linyan Kaddish ain't a Mavatal, but for Kaddish it's not Batal, so he still gets the Kadima of the Kaddish. So let's say somebody's parent passes away on Erev Yom Tif, and there's no Shiva, but Cholamayid, if he's part of the shuls that allow somebody to dam for the Amr on days that they don't say Tachnun, so he would get Kadim over everybody else. By Kaddish, we don't say Miktas Yom Kikule, so we know that the Shiva is over in the morning, but he still gets Kadima by Mincha. And even Mincha on the seventh day gets all the Kadeshim, wine and Shiva Shloishim, Yom Kfura, and we count 7 and 30 days goes from the Kfura, not from the death. Even though the Aval didn't hear right away that the parent passed away, and then after, once he hears, then he has Shiva. Kaddish ain't like din Shiva. For Kaddish, he doesn't have a din of Shiva, meaning he does not have the Kadima, because it's not the real Shiva, it's only Shiva, meaning only the Shiva from the death do you have the Kadima. Shiva from him sitting Shiva, you don't have that. And same thing if he died on Yom Tif, Mainin Le'inin Kaddish, Yom Kfura. For Kaddish, you also go from the Yom Kfura, even though the Shiva is not going to start until after Yom Tif. Okay, we should never know from any of these dinim. Okay, everybody should have a fine night. Sudas Tavis.
Thank you.